Hi, I'm John Nielsen with AAA. I'm the director of AAA's Approved Auto Repair Network and AAA's Auto Buying Program. We're here today in Central Florida at Courtesy Acura to talk about buying a car. And in this segment, we're going to talk specifically about buying a new car. The first step is to determine what you can afford. Now, the rule of thumb is that your car payment should run somewhere between 8 and 10% of your monthly income. Online is a great place to research your car. AAA recommends that you visit AAA.com to find out information on vehicle costs, on their safety ratings, and the actual review of the vehicle, and find which one within that price range works for you. The next step is to secure financing, and it's a good idea to have your financing set before you visit the dealer. You can check online, you can check with your local bank or credit union, but that allows you to go in and make sure that you're getting the good rate. If the dealer has a better rate, it's great to use that one. But being informed is what's going to help you through this process. It will help the salesman sell you the car you need and really remove the stress. The next step is to take a test drive. You've got all your information lined up. Now go visit the dealership and actually get in the car and take it for a ride. And this shouldn't be just a 5-minute ride. This should be take it out and drive it like you normally would, through traffic, accelerate on the freeway. 15-20 minutes would be great. Get a feel for this and make sure that it's the right car for you. Now, once you've taken your test drive and you've narrowed it down to the vehicle you want, it's time to get an insurance quote. And this is really important because some cars are more expensive to insure than others, and it could put you out of the range of a car you can afford. So check the insurance. When you've achieved that, now it's time to negotiate. And what you want to do is put all that research that you've done up till now to use to make sure that you get a fair price on the vehicle, that you're getting the add-ons that you want, and that you're going to really enjoy this vehicle long term. And finally, the next step is the best step, and that's just to enjoy your purchase. Take it home, you've done a great job. Now we've talked about buying a new car, we're going to move on to buying a used car in the next segment. Hi, I'm John Nielsen with AAA, and we're here today talking about buying a car. And in this segment, we're going to talk about visiting the dealer and what you can expect. The first thing we should talk about is when to visit the dealer, and that would be after you've determined what you can afford, you've done your research online and narrowed your vehicle selections down to 2 or 3, so that you're really focusing on vehicles that you can tend to buy and that are within your range. So when you visit the dealer, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to meet with the salesman. What you want to do is introduce yourself. Be totally honest with them. Tell them that this is what I can afford, these are the vehicles I'm considering, and what you'd ask them to do is help you to drive those vehicles and make the best decision. Once you've made that introduction, you're going to select a vehicle to drive, and you really should be sure that that vehicle is very similarly equipped to the one you're considering buying. There's a lot of change within models, so you could take one that has a very expensive option list and one that has almost no options, and they'll drive differently. So you want to get one that's as close as possible to the model and make and trim level that you're considering to buy. Once you go on that test drive, here's a couple of things that you need to consider. Make sure you drive it in the way that you're going to drive it when you own it. That means in stop and go traffic, that means accelerate on the highway, that means drive on the highway, drive in traffic, feel how it brakes, are the seats comfortable, does the air conditioner blow cold, do you like the radio, can you read the gauges, can you read the knobs? All of that's important because that's what you're going to have to live with, and right now is the best time to figure that out, and in fact right now is the only time to figure that out while you're sitting in that car. So take your time, learn a lot, be comfortable, ask questions of your salesman. That's what he's there for, is to help inform you about that vehicle and what you need to know. And that's what to expect when you visit the dealer. Now in our next segment, we're going to talk about disposing of the vehicle you already own. Should you trade it? Should you sell it outright? We'll give you the information to make that decision. Hi, I'm John Nielsen with AAA, and we're talking about buying a car, and in this segment we're going to talk about negotiating your purchase. There really are a few things that you should know, and they start with terminology. You're going to hear terms like MSRP, which stands for the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's what the manufacturer puts on the window sticker and says the vehicle costs. You'll hear terms like invoice, which is almost what the dealer pays for it. A couple of other terms that are real common here would be incentives. So is the manufacturer providing incentives to lower the price of the vehicle to you? And another term you might hear is holdback. So that is any rebates the dealer may get All of those are important in figuring out what the actual price is, and your best source to find those numbers are going to be online. You can visit AAA.com and find a wealth of information on what the vehicle costs, what the invoice is, if there are incentives or holdbacks. Now, armed with all that information, you're going to go to the dealer and it's time to negotiate. You've already driven a car, so you have a relationship with a dealer. You talk to a salesman, you should go back and talk to him. Tell him that you're ready to purchase. Tell him that this is what you're willing to pay. This is what you've researched. This is what you want to pay for the car. A couple of things that are important. Don't change the conversation to what your monthly payment should be. Stay focused right now on what the actual purchase price of the particular vehicle you've decided to buy. That keeps things confined. It helps you be in control, gives you the sense of power, and really helps you get the result that you're looking for. Now, we're going to have to negotiate a trade-in. You should have already researched what your vehicle is worth. You need to be honest with yourself in the condition of your vehicle, and that's going to determine the actual trade-in value. If you decide to trade it in, it's another negotiation just like the purchase price of the vehicle. And finally, there's negotiation on financing. There may be great rates available to you, and you need to negotiate that right now before you sign the papers. Lastly, a number of things are going to be offered to you in the closing, and that could be extended warranties, that could be paint treatments, fabric treatments. These are things that each one is a separate negotiation, and your ability to research this before you sit in the seat is going to put you in control. Is an extended warranty a good thing? For many motorists, it absolutely is. For others, no. So you need to do the research, you need to make the determination, but when you sit down, you should be informed, because if you're not, that's where things go wrong. And the process won't be as much fun, and you may feel later like you were taken advantage of. And that's what you can expect in the negotiation process. Now, in the next segment, we're going to talk about what you can do after the purchase to protect your investment, keep your car running good. Hi, I'm John Nielsen with AAA, and we're here today to talk about buying a car. In this segment, we're going to specifically talk about buying a used car in 6 steps. The first step is going to be to determine what type of car you want. Go online, do some research, look in some brand-specific forums, and you'll be able to find out other drivers' experience with that same model. The second step will be to determine the right price to pay for your vehicle. And to do that, the internet is your best source. You can go online, look at sites like Kelley Blue Book, Nated.com. In fact, go to Cars.com and look at what people are selling their car for. That'll give you a range of prices. And you'll see prices that run for cars that are in great shape to cars that are in just moderate shape. So there'll be a range of pricing. Once you've determined what a vehicle should sell for, your next step is to make sure you can get financing. By getting financing now, it allows you to understand what you can afford, it allows you to negotiate well when you go to the lot, and really removes a lot of the pressure once you get there. The fourth step is to find your car. Go out, take a look, take a test drive. What you want to do on that test drive is make sure that you're going to enjoy this car. Drive it like you normally would at slow speed, accelerate on the highway. This should not be a 5-minute ride. Go ahead and take 15 or 20 minutes. Make sure you know the car and you feel comfortable with it. The fifth step has 2 parts. The first part is, once you've found your vehicle, to run a Carfax report on it. And the Carfax report will tell you whether the car's been involved in a serious accident, has been flooded, if there's any problems with the title. That's important in your negotiation and perhaps even in the purchase of the vehicle. The second part of the fifth step is simply to take it to your mechanic or a AAA approved auto repair facility that can actually do a physical inspection and determine if there's anything wrong with the engine or something that might have been missed in the Carfax. Taking these 2 steps will assure you that the car you're getting is in good shape and is as it's represented. The 6th step is simply to enjoy your purchase. Buy the car, enjoy it, you've gone through the right steps, you've got a good car at a good price, and you're set. And those are the 6 steps on buying a used car. Up next, we're going to talk about the dealer experience. I'm John Nielsen with AAA, and we're talking about buying a car. In this segment, we're going to talk about protecting your investment after the purchase. Before you leave, it's time to learn a little bit more about it. Sit down with your salesman at a new car dealer and ask them to explain some of the features and benefits, how to use the safety features, how to use the entertainment features, perhaps even introduce you to the service manager where you'll be taking your car for service under warranty. If you purchased a used car, it might be a great time to sit down with the approved auto repair shop that did the actual inspection on your car and ask them about features that you should know about. What should be expected in the maintenance of the vehicle, and establish a relationship right there that you can use long-term in maintaining your car. When you get home, a couple of things that are really important is to read your owner's manual. I can't promise you that it's going to be the most thrilling piece of literature you've ever sat down with, but it is really important to understand what exists in your vehicle, some features that you may not even be aware of that are pretty cool, and what's expected to maintain it to keep it in good running shape. A little bit of time invested right now in reading that owner's manual is going to protect your investment and allow you to enjoy it in the future as much as you did today with your new car. So that's the information on buying a car. We provided you with a wealth of information on how to negotiate and research your vehicle and actually go through the purchase. We hope now that you've enjoyed the process and that you enjoy your new car. Hi, I'm John Nielsen with AAA, and we're here today talking about buying a car. And in this segment, we're going to discuss what to do with the vehicle you already own. You really have three options, and the first option is to trade that vehicle in. Now, a couple of things that you need to know here. The first is that your car is probably worth less than you think it is. Now is the time to be really honest with yourself and assess the condition of your vehicle. How clean is it? If it's in very good shape, the tires are good, the paint's good, the interior's good, the mileage is right in line, about 12,000 miles a year. You're going to have to consider that when you go to assess the value online, that it's average. If it has door dings, if it has tires that need to be replaced, you're going to need to move towards poor condition. But be honest with yourself, because that's what your car is going to get. Now, you can go online, go to kbb.kellybluebook.com, go to nada.com, NADA.com. That will give you information on average what you can hope to get out of your vehicle selling it yourself or trading it in. You can also go to sites like cars.com or autotrader.com and get information of what other people are asking or trying to sell their car for. Remember, that's what they're asking. That's not what it's sold for, and it may not be a true reflection of what your car is worth. So when you trade in your vehicle, the dealer is going to offer you a price that reflects the condition of your car. Trade-in value is much different than the value of you selling the vehicle yourself, because a vehicle that you trade in, they're going to have to clean up and resell themselves, and they'll make a profit on that. You have the option of selling the vehicle yourself, in which case there's a few things that you need to remember. The first off is you're going to need to keep your car clean all the time so that it's ready to be shown when somebody wants to see it. You're going to have to be willing to invite people to your home so they can see the car and drive it, and actually allow people to take your car away from your home and drive it to make sure that it's in good shape. All of those things can be done, and if you're willing to do that, you'll make more money. Your car is worth more selling it to an individual than it is in a trade-in. But remember, it takes more work. In the beginning, I said there were three options. The third option is simply to keep your car. You can keep it and give it to your children. You can give it to a friend, or you can park it in the garage and just have a pretty thing to look at. Now that we've talked about what you're going to do with the vehicle you already own, it's time to talk about actually negotiating the purchase of your next vehicle.
Even if you're holding on to your current vehicle, it won't be too long until you move on. Here's AAA's guide to getting the highest resale value for your ride. To obtain the best resale value, owners should focus on keeping up on all aspects of the vehicle. The interior, exterior, and especially under the hood should never be ignored. Wash the vehicle every 2 weeks and wax it at least twice a year, depending on climate and driving conditions. Be sure to rinse out the wheel wells and undercarriage. Finish with a good coat of wax that looks great, protects the finish, and helps reduce paint fading. If you get chips in the paint, be sure to fix those quickly to avoid rust. Have small windshield chips repaired before they turn into cracks that require replacement. Exterior flaws are the first things buyers see, and it could dramatically affect first impressions. Wipe down dusty or soiled surfaces with a damp cloth. Follow with a UV protective coating on vinyl and rubber surfaces. Vacuum regularly and lightly shampoo as needed. Clean stains from seats and interior surfaces immediately. Use protective flooring and seat covers to to help preserve the original quality of upholstery. Finally, improve the resale value of a vehicle by saving all of its maintenance records. Organize them in a file or just keep them in the glove box. Either way, being able to produce a record of proper maintenance and repairs during ownership of the vehicle can add hundreds of dollars to a vehicle sales price. Extend the life of your vehicle's interior and exterior, and you'll enjoy the benefits when you sell.
When you own a car, you must have comprehensive insurance coverage to cover collision damage, personal injuries, and injuries to others. Car insurance is one thing you cannot live without. In fact, nearly every state requires it by law. You can elect to have extra protection like a rental car if your car is totaled, supplemental coverage for extended damages to others, or insurance if a minor is driving. You can also have coverage over other people's property. The rates that the insurance companies charge are based upon age and driving record. The more moving violations that you incur, the higher the rates will be. This is why it is absolutely crucial to adhere to the speed limit, keep a safe distance between your car and the car in front of you, and to be aware of your surroundings while driving. Especially for young drivers, insurance is a necessity. If a teenager without insurance were to get in an accident, the parents are liable and it could be the cause of a financial ruin for the family. Not only is it illegal not to have it, but the repercussions of an accident are too dangerous to risk. To learn more about car insurance, visit finlittv.com.
Hello, my name is Lisa LaLiberty. I'll be speaking on the basics of auto insurance. For most people, buying an automobile is their first major purchase. Actually, a new car is second only to a home as the most expensive purchase many consumers make. With vehicle prices averaging over $28,000, it's easy to see why one would want to protect that investment. Before we talk about coverage for the automobile itself, I'd like to start with what many people believe is the most important coverage of all, liability coverage. Liability coverage pays for the injuries or damage you or someone driving your car cause to other people or their property. The two liability coverages are called bodily injury liability and property damage liability. Every state has different laws dictating the minimum coverage you must carry for this. Some states require you to prove you have insurance before registering a motor vehicle, and other states use the honor system, where you only have to provide proof if you have an accident or violation. A typical state-required minimum coverage is 25-50-10, and I'll provide an example shortly to explain what that means. There are 4 states that do not require drivers to carry any liability coverage. Just because it's not required by law doesn't mean you don't need it. Let's say you have an accident. You're distracted momentarily and rear-end the BMW in front of you. There are 3 people in it, all of whom suffer some injury. If you're carrying liability coverage of 25-50-10, that means your insurance company will cover the cost of any one person's injuries, rehabilitation expenses, pain and suffering, and time lost from work up to $25,000. But they will not pay more than $50,000 for the accident, regardless of the number of people injured. This is the bodily injury portion. And your insurance company will pay up to $10,000 for the property damaged. So 3 people are injured. Let's say their injuries total $75,000. And the BMW has rear-end damage of $13,000. Your policy will pay for $50,000 for all injuries and $10,000 for the property damage. Where does the remaining $25,000 for bodily injury and $3,000 for property damage come from? Once your policy pays the maximum limits, you could be held personally responsible for the remaining amount. It's generally recommended that you carry more than the state minimum coverage to protect yourself from this financial risk. The next coverage under an automobile policy is medical payments coverage. This provision protects you and your passengers if you're hurt in a car accident, regardless of who's at fault. The coverage also extends to you and your family members if you're a passenger in someone else's car or if you're a pedestrian injured by an automobile. Medical payments coverage pays the medical bills resulting from an accident up to a per-person maximum, commonly $5,000. There are no deductibles and no waiting period under this coverage, and prescription drugs related to the injuries are covered. Consider that accident with the BMW again. Let's say that you and your passenger are both injured and taken by ambulance to the hospital. Medical payments coverage of $5,000 will cover the cost of the ambulance ride, the emergency room visit, and subsequent doctor's visits up to $5,000 per person. If your medical bills total $7,000 and your passengers total $3,000, the policy will pay $8,000 under this coverage. Some states have a medical payments coverage known as personal injury protection, or PIP. This coverage may have a deductible, and it may allow you to collect for lost wages and rehabilitation expenses, two things that regular medical payments coverage does not cover. A third coverage provided by an automobile insurance policy is uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. This coverage is quoted similarly to bodily injury liability. Even though mandatory insurance laws exist in 48 states, nearly 15% of all accidents are caused by uninsured drivers. Uninsured motorist coverage provides protection for you and your passengers when you're injured in an accident with an uninsured motorist. It will cover your medical bills, rehabilitation expenses, lost wages, pain and suffering, things you could have claimed against the at-fault party's insurance if they had it. Underinsured motorist coverage will cover those same losses if the at-fault party's coverage is insufficient for your loss. Keep in mind, in most states, the uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage applies to injury only and not for damage to your vehicle. Protection for your automobile is provided under the collision and comprehensive portions of a policy. Collision coverage applies when you have an accident involving another vehicle or an object, such as a telephone pole, a guardrail, a building, or when you overturn your vehicle. Comprehensive coverage applies in losses involving fire, theft, vandalism, broken glass, hitting an animal, flood or hail damage, or other losses not caused by collision. These coverages have a deductible, the amount you must pay before the insurance company pays for damages. Common collision deductibles are $500 or $1,000, and common comprehensive deductibles are $100 or $250. If your automobile is financed, then you're required by the bank or financer to carry comprehensive and collision coverages until that loan is paid off. It's important to note, an insurance company will never pay more to fix your vehicle than the vehicle is worth. Two other coverages available through many insurance companies are towing and emergency road service and rental car reimbursement. While these coverages are optional, I always recommend them as part of my full coverage package. Automobile insurance rates are based on many factors, including where you live, your age, what you drive, how much you drive, and the coverage you carry. One way to keep your insurance costs down is to take high comprehensive and collision deductibles. As a vehicle gets older and is not financed, many people choose to drop these two coverages completely as a way to save money. Additionally, many people choose to pay for small claims out of their own pockets as a way to keep their rates down. But remember, the coverage you carry is just one of the factors contributing to the cost of insurance. There are things you can do to make sure you get the best price possible. The first is to keep your driving record clean. Your driving record is used as a predictor of future experience. Accidents and violations stay on your record for 3 years, and major violations and suspensions stay on for 5 years. Many companies now use a scoring model that combines your driving record with a variety of other information, including certain elements of your credit history and prior insurance claims to determine your cost for insurance. This means that paying bills on time could affect your insurance rate, as could the number of claims you file on your policy. Automobile insurance can be confusing, but a little knowledge can go a long way in providing you the protection you need.
It could put a dent into your holiday savings this year if you get into a car accident without having insurance. News Channel 18's Kristen Majorano has more on this for us tonight. Kristen, police are seeing more people driving uninsured.
That's right, Nicole. Lafayette police technician Matt Devine says it could be related to the economy. Car insurance is just one more expense when finances are already tight for a lot of people right now. But he says there are many reasons why you shouldn't take your chances. First and foremost, because it's the law.
We just want to make sure everyone's aware it's mandatory, state law. You have to carry insurance on your vehicle.
Drivers we spoke with say they understand it's the law and they follow it, but some people find a way around it.
Sometimes people will get insurance for their vehicle and obtain the license plate for their vehicle and then cancel the insurance.
When that happens, the drivers who do have insurance have to carry the financial burden, even when they're not at fault. It's a dilemma some local drivers have experienced firsthand.
Well, that makes me angry. I actually got hit by a guy back when I was about 16 that didn't have car insurance, and we had to pay for everything.
I did have someone sideswipe me once, and they told me that they just pay up front. And I believed them. I was young, and I never got it fixed.
So why are police seeing such a high number of uninsured drivers? One reason seems to top the short list.
I just think it has a lot to do with the economy.
People are cutting down to the bare essentials. Make sure you have food, shelter, and that's about it for some folks.
But these drivers say it's an expense they wouldn't forego.
It's a small price to pay, but if you're ever injured or anything, you just got to have that coverage, especially in a bad economy.
According to Lafayette police records, 470 drivers received citations for not having insurance in 2009. As of Tuesday, 393 drivers have received citations so far this year. You could look at that as well more than one citation per day, and that only includes drivers caught by Lafayette police. Kristen Mayorano, News Channel 18.
If you are caught driving without insurance, it can cost you $1,000 in fines, fees, court costs, and impound charges. But that hasn't stopped an estimated 600,000 Oklahomans from doing it anyway. Now, two laws are being proposed that would substantially increase the punishment for driving uninsured.
The proposed laws would allow police to take the license plate of any vehicle that does not have the minimum state insurance coverage. Insurance Commissioner John Doak says the number one complaint he hears is the number of people driving on Oklahoma roadways who do not have insurance.
We've done the PSAs, we've tried to educate Oklahomans, and you say, do you really have to do that? Yes, you do. There's folks coming out of high school, there's new drivers, there's folks in our state that don't know that you need to have mandatory liability insurance in our state.
Callie Hirth works in the Insurance Commissioner's office. She has firsthand knowledge of what can happen when an uninsured motorist causes a collision, one involving her and 3 family members.
A driver was going an estimated 40 to 60 miles per hour on a residential street and failed to stop at an intersection stop sign where we were passing through at the same time, T-boning my vehicle. We ended up taking every penny of our uninsured motorist coverage, which was a drop in the hat compared to the overall expenses, and had to come to terms with the fact that none of us would ever be whole after this accident. There really are no words to express the pain, frustration, and trauma, physically and emotionally, that we faced because of the choices of that driver that night.
The bills also require forced liability insurance to be placed on the vehicle for 5 days or until the owner buys insurance. The House version of the bill would also increase the fine for driving without insurance from $750 from the current $250. Commissioner Doak says that's necessary because some drivers have looked at the cost of getting caught versus the cost of insurance and made a choice to cheat.
There is some element out there that says, I'm going to gamble. I'm gonna pay the fine, and I'm not going to carry the insurance. And we've seen this around the state. So there is some theory out there that the fine should be equal to the cost of the insurance, and I think you might see a percentage of the folks start to carry it.
State Senator David Holt is sponsor of the Senate version of the bill. He says on its face, this is a proposal that would appear to conflict with some of his basic philosophies.
You start with the philosophy that it's okay to ask something of drivers on public roads because, I'm a free market guy, I'm a conservative, my first instinct is not always to force people to get insurance. This is something we've had a, debate about in this country the last couple of years. But this is different because we're on public roads.
Estimates by the Insurance Research Council place the number of uninsured motorists in Oklahoma at nearly 25%, or just under 600,000 motorists.
Why are 25% of our motorists driving without insurance? This is an albatross around the motorists' necks of Oklahoma, costing us millions of dollars in insurance premiums above and beyond what we should be paying.
Senator Holt says the number of people driving Oklahoma roadways without insurance may be much higher.
We have 25 to 40% based on different people's reckoning of drivers are not carrying any insurance at all. I myself my car was almost totaled about 4 years ago by an uninsured, unlicensed driver.
Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Betsy Randolph says from a law enforcement standpoint, getting tougher on uninsured motorists is important.
We've needed some teeth in the laws for a long time that would encourage people to do the right thing, which is just get the limited liability insurance.
And for law enforcement, those teeth would go even further than the bills now in the legislature.
When you roll up on an accident, if it's a fatality accident or an injury, a serious injury accident, if we've got a person there who has willfully disregarded the state law about carrying compulsory insurance liability, there are some of us of the opinion that we wish it were possible to put that person in handcuffs and take him to jail.
Dan Ramsey is president and CEO of the Independent Insurance Agents of Oklahoma. He says his members see abuse of the mandatory law on a regular basis. He points to a neighboring state that allows law enforcement to already seize license plates, with a resulting decline in uninsured drivers.
But Louisiana does impound cars, and they did take the tags off, and they went from 32%, between 30 and 32% uninsured, down to 12 to 14% uninsured, which is stunning to me.
Under current state law, police officers already have an array of tools to deal with uninsured motorists. The mobile cop system allows officers to electronically check insurance verification. Trooper Randolph says if a motorist can't show proof of insurance and the electronic check comes back negative, the first step, write a ticket.
If they get convicted of that, then their license will also be suspended. A reinstatement fee is $350 just to get your license reinstated. And before you can get it reinstated, you've got to get insurance for your car. Their car can be towed right there from the spot, and they'll have to pay the pickup fee, the mileage fee, the storage fee for a vehicle to stay at the wreck or impound lot until they bring their car, everything up to date before they can get it out.
And all of that can easily add up to more than $1,000. If the bills pending in the legislature become law, that figure could more than double.
It's going to certainly inconvenience some people, but maybe that's what it takes. It has to take an inconvenience that's serious enough that people understand that we mean business about getting people insured.
Trooper Randolph says the message should be clear to Oklahoma motorists.
I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to be that poor college student that didn't have enough money and you're living on ramen noodles, and there's no way, in your opinion, that you can financially afford to get that insurance. But the reality is there's no way you can afford not to get it.
And a coalition of insurance agents, trucking associations, and the Safety Council are all backing the bills now in the legislature that would increase the punishment and costs of driving without insurance.
No matter how you get a traffic ticket, the consequences can be super expensive. Now, you know when you get a ticket, you're going to have to pay a fine, maybe some court costs, maybe for school. But what is it going to do to those car insurance rates? Insurance.com did a study on auto insurance rate increases and traffic tickets. The most expensive ticket? Reckless driving. It can cause your insurance to go up an average of 22%. Next costly infraction, DUI. With the first offense, jacking rates 19% on average. Another potentially expensive ticket, driving without a license. That could result in an 18% rate increase. Now, it's going to come as no surprise that speeding tickets are going to raise your car insurance rates. The average is 11 to 15%, but the faster you are going, the greater the effect is going to be. Failing to yield may result in a 9% rate increase, while a seatbelt infraction could cost you 3%. So what do? Well, you can hire an attorney or go to court yourself and try to avoid points, and thus the record on your license. Bottom line, obviously you want to follow the rules of the road, try to keep your tickets to a minimum. But whether you get a ticket or not, we can show you how to deal with high insurance costs. Just go to moneytalksnews.com and do a search for car insurance. For Money Talks News, I'm Stacy Johnson. Want to get a deal on wheels? Get the free Money Talks newsletter. It only takes 7 seconds to sign up, and it's full of deals and news you'll really use. Do it now at moneytalksnews.com.
How to get a car registration. Driving without a car registration is against the law. If you get a new car, the final step towards making it legal is to register it. You will need a Department of Motor Vehicles or Secretary of State office, a title, proof of insurance, a sales contract, a bill of sale or affidavit, emissions test results, and taxes. Step 1. Check with your state's DMV or Secretary of State office to learn the specific requirements for registering a vehicle in your state. Do not attempt to obtain a car registration if your driver's license has been suspended or revoked. Step 2. Locate a copy of the sales contract or bill of sale, or, if your state requires it, an affidavit confirming the purchase price, a description of the vehicle's VIN number, names of the seller and buyer, date of purchase, and odometer reading. Be sure you have full insurance coverage, including collision coverage, on the vehicle if there is a lien against it. This will probably be a requirement for registering the vehicle in your state. Step 3. Have evidence that the vehicle has passed an auto emissions test and operational testing as required by your state. Step 4. Take the required documents to your vehicle registration office. Pay the taxes, license plate or sticker fees, and any fees associated with transferring the vehicle to your name. The car will finally be legally registered in your name. Did you know? A wind-powered car was invented in 1335.